Well, morning folk, day 3 for me of the Cuckoo Way. So I stayed in this place behind me last night called the Lockkeeper. It was a bit of an interesting stay, as in that building doesn't have a name on it, which, as I pointed out to the lady last night, and she wasn't very forthcoming and I would say slightly rude. And there was a weird thing about this place. So I booked it through booking.com. It was £52 to stay in the room. When I got to reception, they said, oh, there's a £50 waiver fee for the key and that you don't steal anything from the room. And I thought, I've never done that before in a hotel room. So I've paid at £50. So they're going to check my room now and then they're going to tell me if I've got to pay this £50. Obviously, I haven't taken the TV or anything else or the bed because I've got to carry it all. Anyway, we are moving on. Today, we are moving from Worksop to Retford. It's about 12 miles I'm doing today. And then tomorrow, our last part is the longest part, going to be about 15 miles. So at the moment, we are about 21, 22 miles in, walking along the canal. I believe it's going to be quite picturesque as well today. There's some historical heritage buildings we're going to pass. And then tomorrow is meant to be the most beautiful day of the canal. And it's more rural. So I think once we get past Worksop, it'll go into like a rural area again, and then we'll build up to Retford as well. Again, legs feeling fine, ready to go. I'm actually feeling that we can start to do some more proper walking. I do find that while I'm walking up hills and also upstairs is a difficulty. So it might be a little while before we can start walking up any hills, but maybe I'll do a couple more of these canal walks. And actually, Trent and Mersey, I can't remember how far that is. It's over 100 miles, so maybe that one. As we reach another lock from yesterday, we've changed the other side of the towpath. And actually a more substantial towpath rather than the gravelly, muddy path that we had the majority of yesterday. But as I said, it's all been restored now. Once we get to Retford, the canal widens as well. So we've just passed Morse Lock number 49. We've got Bridge 41C. And we can see the two cuckoos of the Cuckoo Way, which we're following as we continue on towards Retford. It looks like in front of us we've got part of the Chesterfield Canal Trust doing maintenance work, all with the vests on as they continue restoring this canal. So it's good to, when we walk canal walks, actually see things in motion, so to speak, not just that we see the canal, but there's actually things happening along it. I remember when I walked the Montgomery Canal in Wales, part of the Office Dyke. Still haven't put that video out yet. But there was now a boat being lifted out of the water, which is something I've never seen before. So it looks like they're probably doing some towpath maintenance, and the boat's called the British Waterways Python. So this is one of the points where you see the boats where they turn around. There's a bigger area for them to turn around. We've got a good team of workers here.
95 years old. It used to be 70 foot and it's been shortened, but it's got quite a deep draft.
What do you mean by deep draft?
It's lower in the water, cut down to 55 I think.
So that's what's struggling to manoeuvre around, isn't it?
Well, the only reason is because the water level is very low. And one of the reasons is that if you enter town, they rebuild the wall where Matalan is. The canal's been closed there for about 3-4 months. No passage. Repairing both sides, effectively had to de-water it, which drops the water levels.
Right,
the water levels here are about 6 inches lower than they usually are. That we're attracting more and more volunteers on each stretch, which is great. Time you were 2 or 3 of us on the boat. Now we're getting 8 and 9, 10 regularly, which is great stuff.
Well, it's always good to talk to the people alongside the canal, and obviously the other volunteers, part of the Canal Trust. Although we are in the sort of the heart of Worksop now, so some nice houses, canal front houses. Problem is with canal front houses and riverfront houses is that, like myself and everybody else that walks past them, you're always looking in at them. So if you live here, you've always got people looking in at your place. in between the times. Well, there's one for sale there. Would you buy that? If you had the opportunity to buy it, would you buy a canal front property that's quite tranquil most of the time, but on the negative side, you've always got people looking at you? Lose your privacy, don't you? I mean, most people have a garden with a fence around it, so you've got that privacy. You will lose your privacy if you back onto a canal or a river. So, question of the day, or comment: would you buy a property if you had the opportunity like that, even though people are going to be looking at your property all the time? Right, as we head into the centre of Worksop, along the edge of the canal, we will come across some more of the heritage buildings that are associated with Worksop. Quite derelict buildings on our left hand side. So we're coming towards another lock, or actually, I think we're going to have to divert. Towpath closed. Even had a friend from the army that used to live in Worksop. Mutley, Mr. Preston. I think this is a detour past this little section. When we get on the road here, that's Station Road. That heads up into the train station and the centre of Worksop. We're not going that way, we'll continue along the canal, heading towards Retford. We're struggling to move this one, but they need to put it along the lock a bit further in. Sometimes what happens is that if you are too close to one end, when there's only one boat in, your boat can be shifted towards the gate, which if it crashes against it, two things will happen there. One is to damage your boat, and second, you can get a hefty fine from the Canals Trust. So you can see the height of the water there. You're looking at about another 4 or 5 feet it needs to climb. There you go, you can see the boat's moving a little bit now. Slowly and surely wins the race, so to speak. So this is Cuckoo Wharf. As you can see, they're doing some canal works to improve the area. Now, unfortunately, I ended up speaking to one of the workers. He did say to me that the project is going to take a little bit longer. Earlier I was told that they actually had the funding to complete it. There was 1.5 miles of canal that was already there that they just slightly restored, and that cost 5 million. So to build this 5 miles of canal, actually fully building, is going to cost a lot more than 5 million, and the money that they actually got at the moment. This bit of wall that they're doing here is costing £135,000. That's basically where the men are working on the right hand side on the floating pontoon. That's a wall that collapsed. As they're building that, they decided to do some of the stone work along the edge and needs repairing. They also said that the Hart Hill Reservoir, which is the main feeder to the canal, is too small for the extra 5 miles of water that they would need, so they would have to build a bigger water source. So again, that's going to cost quite a bit of money. The building we've seen in front of us, an industrial building, I believe is a flour factory. And we've got some more industrial buildings on the right, which I'm guessing that's an old mill building. Okay, so there's the old brook. We've got the Worksop Priory over there. Now, I've done a video before about when I visited Worksop. Put a link to that one there. Quite a big priory for such a small town. Anyway, this area, as on the sign, so this is the Creative Village, BDC, which is Bassett Law District Council, which is the area that we're in, Bassett Law. So the male swan is guarding the female swan. Secondary one we've seen that's nesting. Bridge 43, still on Route 6, the National Cycling Network. Hopefully not so many people cycling on the path. Don't have a bell, and by the time you realise they're coming up you turn around and they're basically in your face. So you can see actually along this wall There's some of the hooks there that people could have connect their boats to, so moored them up against those. You can just see a heron on the other side of the bank. Generally, they usually fly off by now. And there he is. I was hoping I was going to get a photo of him close up. Not to be. This is Bracebridge Lock 51 and Bridge 44. So this building to our right, or across the canal, is Bracebridge Pumping Station. It's a Grade 1 listed building now, and the area is quite derelict. As you can see, the building itself is disused as well. Now, as I'm in this area, let's talk a little bit about the history. Well, we're in an area called Bassetlaw. We're also in an area called the Dukeries. Worksop Manor is renowned to be the gateway to the Dukeries near Sherwood Forest. Now, Worksop Manor dates back to the 11th century. Originally, there was a castle there, and the Duke of Norfolk used to own that property. Today, it's privately owned. The owners today, they ride horses. Well, they race horses. You can't really go there. You can see it from a distance by a footpath, but not you get anywhere close. But it's a grand stately home today. It's probably the biggest of the Dukery buildings. On top of that, we've got Welbeck Abbey, as the name suggests, was an abbey that was founded in 1193. Moving on a few hundred years, well, the Duke of Portland owned the property, and over the years it was a private home, and then eventually it became an army boarding school and also a place for training officers along the estate. Now, when I was in the army, we went there and delivered some furniture. We were only there for about an hour, but we actually got to see some of the buildings. Unfortunately, today it's very well hidden. Lots of trees hiding the building away, a big security team, and the footpaths, in fact the Robin Hood Way passes through the estate of Welbeck. On top of that, we've also got Thoresby Hall. Thoresby Hall was owned by the Duke of Kingston, and later on the Earl Manvers family took over the property. Today, it's quite a grand building. You can visit this one. It is a hotel today. There is a little craft centre by the side of it and a little statue to Robin Hood. But one of the negatives to it is Thoresby Colliery, which was the last colliery to close in Nottinghamshire. And it was the biggest colliery at the time. And unfortunately, Thoresby Hall, on top of some of the tunnels, and over the years now, there's quite a few locations where we've got sinkholes. Then also we've got Clumber Park. The Duke of Newcastle owned that property. He was the first Duke of Newcastle, had the building built in 1707. And unfortunately, after several fires, in 1958, the building was demolished. Now, the grounds was also used in the war effort. Churchill wanted a trench building machine. So they actually made this machine up near Clumber Park. I think it was called Nessie, designed by the Navy. And it was a big machine to actually dig trenches. Unfortunately, although Churchill came to visit it, he never actually got to the front line because technology improved by the time that was built and trenches were dug in different ways. Anyway, that's a little bit of the history of this area. We're going to carry on the trail and head out of the Worksop area within the Bassetlaw area. Yesterday we were actually walking in South Yorkshire. Today we were in Nottinghamshire, and we will continue in Nottinghamshire all the way till we get to the end of this walk. We started in Derbyshire, we've gone through South Yorkshire, and now we're in Nottinghamshire, and where the walk finishes is on the border with Nottinghamshire and Lincolnshire. Let's carry on with the walk. It's a very picturesque. We're away from the noise now, and hopefully we're going to come across a few more sights along the way today. So this is Kilton Lock 52. Only 13 more to go. But funny enough, we've actually got 23 miles to go, and there's only 13 locks to pass. Donkey! Donkey's going for a swim. Don't do it. You don't want to make an ass of yourself. Oh, we've just getting to another mile point. And that is 22. So 24 to go. Some lovely bird song happening here. This is bridge 45, but you can just see right of the pylon there's a mast. Now I remember there, actually that's not far from, I believe it's called Manvers Lodge, and beyond that is Clumber Park, where I mentioned earlier, one of the Dukeries. So the Dukeries are all set quite close to each other.
Okay, so we can just see on that left-hand side of the canal is Osberton Hall. Now, as you can see, there's quite a few horses in front as well. I do believe they do quite a bit with horses, race horses. Osberton Hall was built in the 1800s, and 1807 it was remodeled. The equestrian facilities of Osberton Hall is in the prime Cottamore Hunt country, and has equestrian facilities. So they have an international horse trials course just here as well. I do believe that parts of the Olympic team do come here, even certain royals may have come here in the past.
So bridge 47 with an ornate lamp above it.
And having a duck in this one. Low ceiling, especially when it's 6'3".
So this is the stable block to the hall. Maybe I'll have to get a better look of it from the back of the hall, because we didn't see it from the front. It does look like that's a granary there, and then the hall is just beyond that. There's a big wall, so we might not see much at all. But nevertheless, still enjoying this walk. So right at the end of the estate of Osberton Hall, we've got a gazebo or folly, and looking that way we can just about see the hall. Not all of it, partly. Now, there's a grand building, but we're going past another grand building later on. Well, it says the towpath's closed, but it isn't, because I've just walked that way. The Chesterfield Canal was a bold project from the start, as it was the early years of the Industrial Revolution. The prime purpose was to take Derbyshire coal and lead to new markets, but many other cargoes were carried. The original surveys were undertaken by the celebrated engineer James Brinsley. The length of the canal was opened on June the 4th, 1777. It was a magnificent engineering achievement for its time, including the 2,880 yard Norwood Tunnel and some of the earliest examples of staircase locks. The canal became a successful artery of trade throughout Derbyshire, Yorkshire and Nottinghamshire. After nearly a century of operation, the railways developed and boat traffic began to decline. The canal gradually deteriorated. In 1907, the final collapse of part of the Norwood Tunnel isolated the Derbyshire section. Small cargoes of purely local traffic, horse-drawn until the end, struggled on for many years. The last commercial carrying in Nottinghamshire finished in 1955. Well, it's bridge 50. Hello.
Buddy.
Okay, so you can see it here. Horses that pulled the cuckoo boats. These are made from the ropes that pulled along it. Not all the bridges had that. Right, I think this might be it. It looks like a milestone. It is a milestone. And it says 23 on it. And why is that important? Well, actually, it means we're exactly halfway. Because it's 23 miles that way, and it's 23 miles that way of the Cuckoo Way. So this is the centre point of the Cuckoo Way. And also there's a sign underneath it, the halfway point of the Cuckoo Way, and also the halfway point of the Chesterfield Canal as well. So the place I'm staying at tonight is called the Tamarana, northeast Retford. Now the thing about all these guest houses, I don't know what's going off. So this one, I've got to be there by a certain time. I've got to be there by the latest 7 p.m. And if I'm not there by 7 p.m, then I'm not allowed to stay there, even though I've already paid for the room. Anyway, we're coming to our road. So this road, as you can see, it's quite a busy road. We've got to the Great North Road, or the backbone road of the UK. This is 410 miles long. It stretches from capital to capital. Yes, you heard it. It's the A1. It goes from London to Edinburgh. So as we pass Ramby, A1 noise in the background. We've got an old arts and crafts house there. So we walk around the edge of Ramby, see some old properties on the right hand side, the opposite side of the canal. Actually, that's the pub, the Checkers Inn. I did think about going for a drink, but as I've just realised, it's on the wrong side of the canal. So I think I've got about 5 miles left to do today, and then big day tomorrow. Because the other thing is, like I said earlier, for my knee, I'm meant to rest every 2 hours. I realise I've been walking for about 4.5 hours now, and don't rest yet. So not doing myself any favours. So here's the Seth Atlas, part of the Chesterfield Canal Trust. A substantial bungalow here. Bit solar power, I think that's solar panels. And it's got its own little boathouse. Pigs in muck, it's not. Pigs in dry soil, dusty dry soil, and out of the sun, it is. Well, I'm always looking to film a buzzard at close up. Well, I've got my chance. Unfortunately, he ain't going nowhere. In fact, is that a buzzard or a kestrel? It actually looks a bit small for a buzzard. We've just reached top lock. So if we're at top lock, there's more locks to come. And we're at number 54 along the route. I've seen the cyclists today, and all of a sudden two crossed each other in a matter of about 10 metres. About the editing side, I do put a lot into it, and from a film perspective, like doing the Cuckoo Way, I'm filming the whole thing, and odds are I'm never going to walk this route again, not as a whole anyway. I want to take as much detail to it as possible. So then I get home, and then I start editing it all. Every time I heavy breathe, sneeze, whatever it is, obviously quite a lot, and okay. I try to limit them down as well, and that takes time. I want to get the history to fit in along the way. It takes a lot of time to edit each video. I just want you to realise what I put into the video, and I'm not no editing expert, but it also takes time. If I get only 10 people watch this video, or nobody comments on the video, or nobody puts a like to the video, then I sometimes think, is it worth it? So if you have watched this video to this point, feel free to just make a comment, like, subscribe, share it, whatever. I'm not asking for your money, I'm just asking for you to help me, because you liking the video or commenting it or some sort of interaction with it, YouTube will realise that, and in the analytics will send my video on to more people. So I'm not expecting millions of people to look at my videos, but I just want to make it worthwhile. I wanted to make it a great video for you to watch, and I try to do that all my videos, and I try to improve on every single video I do. I know I'm not everyone's niche. If you do like it and you get something from it, then please interact in some form or fashion. I'll be very pleased. It's a nice little lock cottage here. A lot more canal boats here as well. So we've got 3 or 4 here. So we're mooring up a bit more. Forest lot, and we've got some boats on the opposite side as well. a small boat. Look how big that is. It's only about 15 foot long. It's like smaller than a student studio. And then next to it we've got this big thing that's, well, I think that's as big as they come, 70 foot. And we've got a little, it's like a camouflaged boat, or a rusty boat, one of them. So this is Forest Mid Bottom Lock, number 56. Oh, another milestone. We're at 29. And this one is in memory of Tom and Janet Cotwell. Spend many happy times cruising this waterway. 29, so that means I've got 17 miles left to go together. So we've got 4 more still to go before we're nearly there. Retford is meant to be a quite large market town. I think it's still part of Bassett law. Retford is renowned for bricks. And obviously the red clay, so there are a lot of red clay found around this area. Hello. Well, all I can see is trees and a canal around me. No buildings whatsoever, but I've just doing an ice cream van. So we're on the outskirts of Retford now. We've got a large cemetery on our right hand side. I think it's actually on our left hand side as well. Oh, actually we're coming towards the hospital, Retford Hospital, which will be on our left hand side. It was quite funny actually. I was walking along a moment ago and I saw a lady walking her dogs the opposite way to me probably about an hour ago. Anyway, walking back, so I've just passed her again. I spoke for a few moments. She's probably about the same age as me, I guess. I said to her about, obviously I've had my knee surgery and it's the first walk I've been doing since my knee surgery, long distance walk, and she was quite impressed, which I'm not sure why. Then she says, "Oh, do you live around here?" I says, no, just walking the Cuckoo Way. She says, oh, that's a pity. So I'm not sure what was that meant to me. Did I just pull on the Cuckoo Way? I can't pull where I bloody live, and yet I've pulled walking a blooming long distance walk. That's why I do all this walking by myself. Can't find a lady that would like to do the same. Maybe I scare them off when I say long distance walking. Another sign. The working boats at the Chesterfield Canal. Okay, so we're just passing another aqueduct. Although it's a dry bed. There's a cat down there though. Hello. Nice cottage on the left. It's a bit high for your ring doorbell, isn't it? Oh, there's the door. There's the ring doorbell. I mean, I'm 6'3" and I can't reach that. So this is West Retford Lock. Went past that house that had the doorbell that was 8 foot high, and the bloke went past me just afterwards, and I said about it, and he said, "Oh, I walk past you all the time, I never noticed that." Well, here's one of those boards, information boards. But the thing about this one, it's the thing I've been trying to find all the way. A map with all the locks on it. And there you go. All the lock names and numbers. Maybe they should have shown this at the start, not halfway down the route. Well, here we go. The canal is widening. This is the widest part I've seen it along the route. Although we are coming to another lock. And the lock is narrower. So I think it's just a mooring section. It's definitely a canal cottage. I mean, a picket fence, and then you got 3 foot and you're in the canal. So this must be Retford Town Lock number 59. Only 6 to go. Some more signs. Retford Locks, which is where we are now. As I say, Retford Town Lock number 59. Not all those who wander are lost. Yeah, that should be my saying. In fact, I'm going to take a photo of that. I might even put it on the t-shirt. So this is a bit of a wharf here, so I've been able to transport goods from road onto the canals. It's Bridge 56. So the canal wraps around Retford in about, I think about 300 or 400 metres. This is where I'm going to turn off for today as I head up towards my guest house. And it's about time as well, because I've got about 20 minutes to get there before we get to the cut-off time. I've got to be there by 7 o'clock, otherwise they said that they won't allow me in, even though I've paid. Look how narrow that house is. I mean, this is as wide as the window, basically. Okay, so this is where I'm going to sign off for today. Well, when I say sign off, I'm going to my accommodation. Day 4, or part 4, will be for you, happening in a moment. But for me, I've had enough for today. Go into accommodation, get some food, get some sleep, and I'll see you in a little while to finish off the last part of the Cuckoo Way. So thanks for following me all this time, and please stick with me for the last little bit. I shall see you in a bit. Morning folks, well this is where I stayed last night, Tanamara Guest House, and it was a reasonable price. I think it was £45 a night. It does come with a continental breakfast free. If you wanted to fry up, it's a little bit extra, but overall a nice experience. It's got a very interesting decor. It looks like you're walking back in time a little bit, but other than that it was a nice enough place. All the facilities I wanted. The host, the owner, great guy. Anyway, we're going to carry on with the Cuckoo Way, so we've got to get back on the trail. And like today is our final part as we head up to West Stockwith. We're leaving East Retford, as it says there. So actually Retford seems to be quite a big place. You've got north, east and south. We've got Canal Turn here, so I presume we must be near the canal. Here we are at the east part of Retford. Some lovely reeds here, probably the best ones we've seen so far. At the hop pole of Retford. So go across the road, get back on the route. Well, it's the last part, and we're heading from East Retford, well Retford, and then we're heading all the way to West Stockwith. So it's about 13-14 miles today. As I said earlier, as I've been informed by 2-3 people that I've seen while I've been walking along, they've all said that today is meant to be the most beautiful day of the route. Yes, it's another lock. We're a bit more rural today, away from the big main roads. This is Whitsunday Pie Lock. Interesting name.
The Whitsunday Pie Lock got its name due to a local folk story. Legend has it that during the lock's construction, a woman from a nearby cottage baked a large pie for the workers, the navvies, on Whitsunday, which is a Christian holiday. To commemorate this, locals have continued the tradition of gathering at the lock on Whitsunday to enjoy a large pie.
So it's number 60, so we've got 5 more to go after this one, over the next 13 miles. We can see again some of the rope marks where the pack horses would have pulled the ropes, or they pulled the cuckoo ropes along the way.
Right, let's continue on.
Oh, fish. Can you see those fish? All these people who've been fishing. There's 3 fish there. Quite big as well. I've just about disappeared in the murky water now. There's another 2 coming up now. So there's a clear patch of water there right in the centre. You see those 2? In fact there's another one. It's teeming with fish around here. Okay, I'm not sure if you can see that in the water. Not about
It's either a very large fish that's at the bottom or it's a bird, but I'm surprised it's at the bottom. If it's bloated, it will come to the top. Can't really tell, but it's either a big fish or it's probably a duck or something. I just noticed another milestone in memory of Brian and James Pearson, who spent many happy hours on the canal, and it is 33, so we've got 13 to go from here. To our left looks quite old, very small cottage. So a few little goals to do today. One, we want to try and spot this kingfisher. Two, obviously to complete Cuckoo Way and get to West Stockwith. And then there's one other thing. Well, today's a special day. I'll talk more about that in a bit. So this is Bridge 62. I must admit, did say it was quite picturesque today, apart from this little bit of road noise in the background. It is turned out to be a great walk. There's lots of wildlife in through this hedgerow on the left hand side. And we have a pub on the right. Unfortunately, it's a bit early. It's been about 9:15. Still got to knock out all these miles today. You can moor your boat up here and have a pint. Just over there, that little opening is straight across the field, just about Big House Barnes. That's Hayton Castle Farm. Wasn't a castle there, but probably a fortified building. But we're looking along that way where those trees are. Just behind there's a moat, and the way it's got a slight bit of earthworks, could be a Roman outpost or something similar. Just beyond that hedgerow. Anyway, next place we're heading to, which is those buildings there, is Clayworth. We can actually just see where that red building is on the left hand side. After that, there's quite a few narrowboats all lined up. Next to there is a hall we'll pass, and then just beyond that there's an old abbey. So there's still things to see along this route. Hopefully you're still enjoying it, and if you are, click the like if you haven't done already, and please subscribe. I have a goal. Can I hit 3,000 subscribers this year? I know it's not a big target, but to me it is a target. So we've got a peacock butterfly there. Well, it's a tranquil spot, but it seems I may have found a kingfisher as such. Probably end up being as close as I get to seeing one, but we live in hope. I'm not sure what this is referring to. Ruined Nation 1, Redemption 1000. And Bridge 65. I didn't expect to see that. Not as big as that. The World's End. It's funny actually, I was watching a programme on TV last night called Endeavour. Everything relates to everything else. You all think it coincidences. I've got a feeling that life, one thing connects to each other. It doesn't matter what you do in life, there's always something that fits to something else. That's happened a lot of my walks in the past. I've talked about a history about a certain person, and then I've done another walk, and then when I've been doing the research on that, I found out a person that was related to that last person, or a location. It's always a bit weird. For sale, £60,000. I always thought about buying a boat. The only bad thing for me is being tall, I don't really fit on them. I think the roof height's about 5'10", 5'11". I'm 6'3". So I have enough problems trying to get in a tent that I can fit in. Never mind
living on a boat where I've got to have a crooked neck all the time. But this one is from West Stockwith, and that's where we're heading to, the end point of this trail. My dad thought about buying a boat as well once. He was looking at a Dutch barge which has its like cockpit in the middle. Canal and River Trust. Attention dog owners, pick up after your dogs, thank you. Attention dogs, bark, woof! Great Hayworth Wharf. Now I've got a feeling I know where that is. I think it's near Osberton Hall, near Cannock Wood. Everyone seems to be painting the boats. You're going to need a bigger brush, I think.
Oh, no. Can't cope with bigger.
So the buildings over there is Clayworth Grange. Continue along the canal with the other end of Clayworth, where we'll come to Wiseton Manor. Now Clayworth refers to clay soil. Going back to the Domesday Book, as it says, the River Idle, which flows quite close to Clayworth. And there used to be a priory named Mattersey, as Mattersey Priory, and the Grange that we've just passed was connected to the Mattersey Priory. Now the road that goes through Clayworth is a Roman road. Anyway, we'll meet up with it in a little while. So the church we see there is the Church of St. Peter. Part of the church was built by the Saxons, so that'd be before the Norman Conquest. And then afterwards there is parts that were built just after the Norman Conquest. Now within it there is a tomb for Humphrey Fitz William, and they were very wealthy landowners back in the day. So this is Wiseton Manor. It was actually built in 1588. Now the front entrance still dates back to 1588. It's the only part that's original, with later additions a couple of hundred years later. Now today it's actually a hotel, but originally Wiseton Manor was owned by the Otter family, and they've actually lived there near enough all the way from 1588 till it became a hotel. Now they had Captain Robert John Charles Otter, who lived here as the Justice of the Peace. One of his ancestors was Bishop Otter, who was the first principal of King's College, London, and later became the Bishop of Chichester. This is Bridge 68, and this is the Otter Bridge, named after the Otter family. Probably spent a few pennies building it. Right, coming to the next bridge, which is actually the Roman road. Hello. Hello. Right, so it's Bridge 69.
Oh yes, we got one, we got one!
We got a fish. Wow. I've just walked 40 miles of this canal and nobody's caught a fish, but I've seen hundreds of people doing it.
It just started.
First guy.
Hey, that's not bad, Spencer, eh?
The Roman road has a racetrack. A checkered bridge. Well, it seems that the towpath has now become a road. I think for about the next 300 or 400 metres. Now within these woods on our left is Wiseton Hall, connected to Clayworth, and the lords of the manor of Clayworth did live in Wiseton Hall at one point. Once we get past Wiseton Hall, as we head towards Ladies Bridge, we should just about see the ruins of the Mattersey Priory.
Wiseton was first owned by a young relation of the Wharf family, the Wharf, which were the last Saxon fame to rule the area before the Norman Conquest. Known as the Lord of the Manors of Clayworth from the 1700s. As noted in the rector's book, the Nelthorpe family briefly owned the hall until Richard Nelthorpe, who was declared a traitor to the king in August 1685 by James II. Nelthorpe was executed by being hung, drawn and quartered at Gray's Inn in London. Afterwards, the Acklin family of Bawtry purchased the hall in 1670. A newer hall was built and the hall and grounds were then enclosed by Richard Acklin, By 1771, his son Jonathan built a new grander hall. Richard continued to extend the hall to his death in 1812. His only child was Esther, who inherited his fortune. Esther fell in love with John Spencer, Viscount Althorpe. She passed away 4 years later during stillbirth. Viscount Althorpe continued to live at Wiseton Hall until he became the second Earl Spencer and moved to his family home of Althorpe, Northamptonshire. The current 9th Earl Spencer's sister was Princess Diana, first wife of King Charles and mother of William and Harry. Anyway, moving on. Brigadier General Sir Joseph Laycott, who was born at Wiseton Hall after his grandfather purchased the hall in 1860. He later became the High Sheriff of Nottinghamshire. Sir Laycott, while in the army, became the first commanding officer of the Territorial Army Regiment of Nottinghamshire's Royal Horse Artillery, when it was formed in 1908. Now, as I said earlier, all things are connected. Well, I was in 1st Regiment Royal Horse Artillery while I was in the army. It's a small world. Anyway, we are now going to, I think it's called Drakeholes. And this is the point that we take a sharp right and then we should head east all the way to the end. So here we go, we are at Drakeholes. Drakeholes Tunnel. It's 135 metres long, 4.8 metres wide and 3 metres high. And here we are at the pub, and it's called the Mucky Duck. And as I can see, it's open 6 days a week, and one day it's not open, it's Tuesday. What day is it today? Tuesday! This was the original gateway into Wiseton Hall and the estate. No longer used now, but most likely this is listed buildings. So I'm actually directly above the tunnel at the minute. So we've got to walk on this dirt track. So these properties are directly above the canal tunnel. And by the look of it, they do look quite old as well. Shy as the rest. So were they built at the same time that the canal tunnel was built? Haven't seen it for a while, but you can see some of this stonework on the edge of the canal. Along here it's been just overgrowth. I just noticed loads of shells here. There's some on the edge as well. There's some down there as well. So we've got shellfish along the edge of the water, the bank. Generally the area you would find this type of shellfish, is it? I would have thought I would see them on rocks at the seaside, not by the side of a canal bank. As you can see in the clear water there's quite a few shells all along the edge there. I know little crayfish are seen on canals, but I didn't know shellfish. I've never really noticed it before. It's very warm, the hottest day of the year I think. Right, plodding along, trying to get to Misterton now. It's our next point. Hello. And his partner's just here. Nesting. Warning, no running away with a fish, no cooking a fish, and no taking the eye out of a fish. It's weird what countries have got this. English, but then it's Polish, Romanian, Lithuanian, Slovak, or Bulgarian. Usually it's French, German, Spanish, maybe Italian, not these countries. I have actually seen Polish people fishing before, but I don't know if they actually just caught the fish and kept it. Do you know that? How still, just birds and that's it. No road noise, nothing else. Just here with nature. Okay, so we're just approaching Grinsley Lock, and by the look of it, it looks like the gates are opening, so there may be a boat going through it right now. So this is Grinsley Lock, then there's Middle Lock, and then there's Shore Bridge, bottom lock. There's 3 more locks here, 3 bridges. But when we get to the 3rd bridge, something connects to us.
Perfect timing. The water is going to go up to that level. So the lock's going to fill up once it closes the gate, and the water will rise to the same level as this. Probably got about 7-8 feet to rise. Anyway, we're not going to stay here that long. So Gringley Lock. I think this might be 61. So as we can see, it's bridge 75. You can also see that it's had some, well, underpinning. There's some iron bars holding it in place so the top don't collapse. Shoot through this one a bit fast then, so we don't collapse. So the buildings in front are by the side of Shore Bridge, which shall come into view in a moment. But before that, I'll show you this building here. It's an old brickworks. Actually, it was still thriving in 1880. When we get to Shore Bridge, there's something else I'm going to tell you about. So this is Shore Lock, and beyond it is Shore Bridge. The bridge is 76. And actually, I just noticed behind this shrubbery on the right, there's a flag. I'm sure that's the flag of Estonia. So Shore Lock, number 62. So I was going to say something when we got to Shores Bridge. From Shores Bridge to where we are now, I'm walking along, we've been joined by something, and that's the Trent Valley Way, the long distance footpath. I think it's 152 miles in total. Follows the River Trent most of the way. It's going to stick with us along the Chesterfield Canal until we reach West Stockwith. So probably got about 3 miles in total, maybe 3.5 a push. Okay, so we've just reached another milestone. 6 months ago, I was having my knee surgery. So 6 months later, I've managed to do, or nearly 2 miles to do, is I've just completed long distance walk. So is that achievement? For me it is. It's been a lot of work. I've had to do a lot of physio to get to where I am today. On to the next step from here and do actually some more long distance walking as I keep strengthening my leg up to be able to do more and further and more difficult paths. That's what you call one narrow garden. 5 feet wide, 150 metres long. Each their own, each their own. Not sure what they are. Look a bit like mallards, apart from less colouring, really. Mallards, drakes, but they ain't got the ring on them. They're all going in one straight line. Another picturesque location. Oh, look at these little goats, baby goats, little kids. So this will be bridge 82, but also we've got 45. So 1 mile to go, as it says. Edward and Mary Tomlinson, 2005, nearly there. 1 mile left of the Cuckoo Way. Coming to one of our last locks. I'm guessing this is 63. And I was right, Misterton top lock, 63. Right, well, 2 lots to go. We can see one in front of us and another bridge. And the unfortunate thing, I've got a swan in the way with the towpath. Hopefully they'll allow me to get by. They're not going to hiss me. They allowed me to get by. Well, the other one's kicking off. So Misterton bottom lock, 64. I'm guessing next one's going to be West Stockwith basin lock. We've got another bridge to go. We've got pub on our left, I think. Okay, so there is no pub here. New houses instead. The Packet Landing Stones. Stones bitter. When I was in the army we used to drink that. Stones best bitter. It was shipped out from UK when I was based in Germany. ultrasonic dog teeth cleaning. Our dog won't do that. The only reason he likes having his teeth cleaned so he can suck on the toothpaste. And here we go. Annie King, West Stockwith. You ain't got far to go now. Matter of meters.
Now I think that's a Dutch barge because that's set in a little bit further. So this is West Stockwith. We need to go around because there's something we haven't got to yet. We've got to go to the final lock. And then, we might as well see what the River Trent looks on it. Some interesting shaped houses there. By the look of it, they don't look that old. Although they may have been designed off an earlier style. There's a mix of boats here. So some of these boats would go on the River Trent. And also, we're not far from the Humber Estuary and then into the North Sea. That's approximately, let's say, 15-20 miles away. So the type of boats that people can use are obviously different. Like this one in front, although it's not going to go far when it's there. Well, that's definitely a boat that's got different purposes. Now, I know there was a piece of art that that won the Turner Prize a few years ago called Shed Boat Shed. I think this guy got the idea from it, because it looks like Arthur is a shed. Here's the West Stockwith lock. We see the Trent. So if you go that way, you head towards the Humber Estuary. If you go that way, you head towards Exhaust. Now the thing is, you can see the water is going that way, even though the source is that way. But the force of the North Sea and the estuary is stronger than the source. There is further down the river where the water changes direction.
Well, here we are. We are at Lock 65, which is the West Stockwith lock. And that means we've actually completed the Cuckoo Way. And that's what our target was, to go the whole length of the Chesterfield Canal and following the Cuckoo Way, which actually finishes off where we are now. Now, I did think that, what thing could I do when I'm here? I could go to the pub. Oh no, it's closed. What's going on Tuesdays and pubs are being closed? And hopefully you've enjoyed this one. If you have, then please click the like. If you haven't subscribed, then please do. Add a comment and feel free to share it. But on the other hand, a lot of people who watch my videos aren't subscribed, so please subscribe. And I'm sure you're subscribed to 500 different channels, so we'll make it 501 and add mine. And here we go, just to round it off, number 46, and this is the end of the Cuckoo Way. Although it has a milestone, but it doesn't actually say that's the end of the Cuckoo Way. So in the meantime, I shall speak to you soon, so take care, look after yourselves, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye hikers.